Hey, welcome to the Crack House Chronicles. I am Donnie, your host, and with me is a man who thought the happy birthday song was about him till he went to another birthday party. It's Dale.
I know, they stole my glory, man.
That's it.
What's up with this?
Happy birthday.
Whoa. That's my song.
He thought it was about him.
Damn it. Everything's about me, is it not?
Well, until it's not about you.
That's right.
Yeah.
What's going on, brother?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing very good.
Very,
Beautiful
very
day
good.
outside.
Man,
It's nice. There's no rain. Nice. Was 70-something this afternoon?
it's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Beautiful day at the Crack House.
I don't know what it is Celsius. You have to figure it out.
I don't know Celsius.
I don't know them either.
I know 0 is freezing. That's all I know.
100's really hot.
Yeah, 100 is boiling.
Bowling.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
Anything in between is just,
So you, Canada folks and UK folks, y'all just figure that out.
yeah. It's
nice.
It's nice. That's the temperature.
Yeah, it's the southern temperature. It's nice outside.
Yeah, ain't it nice? You got any good shout outs or anything you want to talk about, bud?
I do, man. Check it out. You know, everybody's always looking for Mr. Right, but guess what? We found him. He's listening to us.
Mr. Wright?
Mr. Right 323 gave us an Apple Podcast 5-star. Said we are the first true crime show he's listened to. He really liked it a lot. He thought it was really good. He enjoyed the show and would definitely be back and listen to more.
Well, thank you, Mr. Wright.
Man, we appreciate that. We always love a good 5-star. It helps us out way more than you guys know.
Man, don't it, though?
Mm-hmm. And we want to give a shout out to Michelle Steinbrecher. We'll go Steinbrecher.
Steinbrecher, yeah.
If I butchered it, I apologize. You let me know, and I'll get it right next time.
Well, I'm sure one of them was right.
Yeah. So anyway, she gave us a great review on Audible, which may be our first or second.
I think we got a few reviews on there.
Okay, cool. She's a very new listener. She definitely loved the show and would definitely be coming back for more.
Hey,
We appreciate you, Michelle. Thank you much.
thank you much.
And a YouTube comment also. So we're covering the bases tonight. So it's MV LeBlanc. She said that she just realized that me, being Dale, looks like her brother, and now she realizes why we are podcast superstars and not movie stars.
You mean there's two guys out there that look like you?
Mhm.
Or just,
That's a whole lot of pretty, I'm telling you.
man, I don't know if the world can handle it.
Me neither. That's a lot of pretty going on.
If you say so.
Yeah. Did I tell you about the story about when me and my daughter went to the phone store the other day?
No.
Yeah, we went to, had to go get a new phone because my one's about had it. So anyway, we were walking in the door, and this guy comes running up to the door from inside, the employee, and grabs the door and opens it, and he goes, "Oh, I thought you was Goldberg. I was coming to get your autograph." Boy, you should have seen my daughter's eyes about roll out of her head.
I bet you could hear her eyes roll.
Yeah, but I was like, see, you didn't know you was hanging with Goldberg today. And for all you guys that don't know, that is a wrestler, not just a Goldberg.
A wrestler.
Wrestler.
Yeah. And if anybody wants to be like Mr. Wright and don't be wrong, go to the Apple Podcast and leave a 5-star rate and review. Write something in the box, and we will give you a big old shout out on the
Heck
Crack
yeah,
House
we will.
Chronicles. Or if your podcast platform allows it,
Rate and review. Anywhere.
yes, anywhere.
Spotify now.
Yeah, Facebook
I
recommendation,
think
whatever.
we got 19 whole stars, I think. 19 whole reviews or
Okay.
whatever, ratings or whatever.
I
we
think
got.
it just allows stars.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I meant.
Yeah,
19 folks have give us 5-star reviews. How about that?
yeah, whatever. If your podcast platform allows it, do it.
Yeah. Anyway, we appreciate it. We appreciate it.
And last episode, I didn't mention nothing about T-shirts and all that stuff, but
No, you didn't.
no, but if you want a T-shirt, go to the store page on our website and get you a T-shirt, get you some kind of merchandise. Support the Crack House, help keep the lights running. We do appreciate a whole big bunch.
Yeah, we'll have the new one up as soon as I can get the file worked out.
Yeah, we're going to put some more designs up and give people some more options.
Anybody got any cool ideas, shoot them to us. We'll review them, see what we think.
Yeah, and also, if anybody's interested in doing our outro message, shoot us an email or a message or something, and we will get you in line for that.
Yeah, we like that. It's kind of cool. We like when you guys jump on and help out. And make sure you jump over and join the fan page and drop some memes and stuff in there.
Yeah.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
I like the interactive part of this.
Yeah, I like it too.
It's fun.
Yeah, we got
We love you guys.
a lot of people listening to us.
We do. So, and I think a lot of people are sharing mouth to mouth. Well, that doesn't sound good. I think a lot of people are sharing, just word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm looking for.
Sure it
They
is.
might be mouth to mouth, and I don't know.
If you are,
But anyway,
if you are mouth to mouth, don't tell us.
yeah, or just send pics. Don't tell Donnie. But anyway, yeah, well, I think we're doing well. Everything's numbers are looking good. Not that I don't look at them every 3 minutes or anything, but But yeah, I think you guys are coming in and sticking around, and we're having a good time, and it seems like you are too.
Oh yeah, the numbers are out the roof, man. I can't believe it.
That's crazy. We just keep breaking records. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, we love our fans.
We do.
All right, dude.
I think we talked enough. We're running everybody off.
We're 5 minutes in. Somebody's going to complain about something.
I know somebody.
But I don't care.
Yeah.
All right, we got a heck of a case this week, man.
Ooh.
And this one, we talked about cases being in our backyard.
I'll tell you, the more we research, the scarier this one got.
Yeah, like I said, we talked about cases being in our backyard. This one,
literally,
was in our backyard, no doubt about it. But this week we are covering Patrick Tracy Burris.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's a lesser-known killer.
He's still killed.
Yep. He's been described as a serial killer or a spree killer, but I think they've settled on spree killer.
Well, when it comes right down to it, I don't really think it matters, does it?
No, I don't think it does. He's a killer.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about him just a little bit and let everybody know what's going on with him.
All right, let's dig in.
All right. Patrick Tracy Burris, he was born on August the 8th, 1967 in Maryland, USA.
Maryland?
Yep.
All right, then. And
there is not a whole bunch you can find about his younger days.
Right.
I mean, it's just nothing out there.
Yeah, the only thing you seen was, everybody thought he had a pretty decent childhood, didn't have a lot of bad stuff going on in his life, and then got up around 13 or so is where you can find anything where he said, basically he got around 13 and got wrong crowd and started doing drugs.
But some of his later family in some interviews said that he had a pretty loving family.
Yeah.
Pretty good childhood.
Yeah, till we got about 13.
Yeah.
That's when he took that exit ramp.
Yeah, and took a different route.
Yeah.
But jumping a little bit ahead, Patrick Burris's life of crime, Dale, it began in 1986.
Okay.
In Volusia County, Florida.
Florida.
Yep. He was 19 years old, and at this time he began racking up numerous felony convictions. From anything from burglary to grand larceny.
Yeah, he wasn't playing, was he?
No, he wasn't messing around. And within 3 years, he would move to Rockingham, North Carolina. So he's getting closer to where we live.
Yeah.
And when he was in North Carolina, he would continue to be convicted on charges of extortion, blackmail, common law robbery, forgery. And there was an even... something he was convicted of was a 19th century law against. It was going armed to the terror of the people.
What the hell is that?
That is threatening people with some kind of weapon besides a gun, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, from what I've read.
That's a fancy law.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a 19th century law that they...
Going armed to the terror of the people.
Yeah.
I bet he said, what did I do?
Yeah. But most of his crimes were in Rockingham County, but some were also in nearby Alamance County.
Right. And that is east of us, right?
Yeah, that is down east part of the state.
Gotcha.
And in the summer of 2001, Patrick Burris was charged with 10 felony breaking and entering charges and 9 larcenies.
Good Lord.
And according to his criminal record, along with being a habitual felon, there was sentencing guidelines that called for him to serve at least 10 years and 9 months in prison.
Yeah, the max was 10 years and 1 month,
yes.
Which doesn't make much sense to me. If you got 10 felony break-ins and then 9 larcenies, which I'm guessing them are probably at the same time, but still, that's a lot of charges racking up, plus all the stuff he already had beforehand to only get sentenced for 10 years. But
I know.
Okay.
But now, just a little statement here. Now, if Patrick Burris had been sentenced to the maximum time allowed, he would have still been in prison today, and his crimes and the people he murdered would still be alive, most likely. Now, when Patrick Burris was 41 years old, Dale, he was 6 foot 7 inches tall.
Big
man. That's going to come into play a little bit later.
Right.
Weighing about 285 to 300 pounds.
That's a big feller.
Big boy. And he had several nicknames. People called him Big Country,
Big Country,
Bigfoot, and Biggin.
Which all of them, I'm sure, fits.
Yeah, because he's a big boy.
My dad was 6'6", 300 pounds, so I know what he's looking at. This dude's bigger than that. So
your dad was a big man.
Yeah.
They called him Big Bill.
Yeah, and this dude's way bigger.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah, and if you look at It's like a mugshot. I think he's a little taller than 6'7", actually.
Yeah.
Looks like it. Anyway, go ahead.
All right. Now, Patrick, he had scars on both of his arms and his right leg.
Yeah, I think those scars came from actually helping trying to get somebody out of a fire or something, I think he said.
At one time when he was younger?
Yeah, but I'm not positive.
Yep.
We can run into that later or something.
And he had tattoos on both arms and both shoulders.
I know he had big country tattoo.
He did have big country tattooed. But like I say, there's not much about Patrick's early years.
Right.
Now, Patrick Burris had worked his way through the North Carolina criminal justice system, Dale, to Gaston Correctional Center.
And is that in Gaston County?
Yeah, that's one county over from us.
Okay.
He's getting closer.
Yep.
And it's a minimum security prison.
Okay.
And getting to Gaston Correctional means a person is within 3 years of his or her release date, and they've shown good behavior.
Okay, so he was sentenced for 10 years, and now he's doing pretty good. He ain't starting no trouble. Probably not many people starting trouble with him, being how big he was.
He's a big boy.
You know, he probably hold his own, I guess. And then, so he's doing well, and he's getting on this good behavior. Okay.
Yep. And he is on a work release program.
Okay.
Yep. And he is working as a tree trimmer.
So, for those who don't know, what is a work release program?
It is where you exhibit good behavior and they let you out during the day to go to a job and make money, and then at the end of the day, you go back to prison and spend the night.
Gotcha.
Yep. They trust you enough to be able to do that.
I guess they have somebody drive you to your job and drive you back, probably.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Because, you know, you don't...
You're just not going to go out and jump the car and go.
That's right.
You're not going to walk to work. So
No.
I'm sure it's all regulated. But Daniel Brighton of Dallas, North Carolina, was with the correctional program. He was a supervisor in Gaston from 98 to 2007. And he basically said that the prison readily supplies inmate labor for the area. He said that Big Country was a fit name for Burris because he was a large country boy who kind of moved slow but had a dry sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
And he was an inmate, and you always had to keep that in the back of your mind. But he was an average inmate, and there was nothing out of the ordinary to make you think he'd be involved in anything bad. So everything's going good.
Mm-hmm. But like you said, Britton's job was to oversee the work release program at Gaston.
Right.
And like I said, the program was required for inmates to be on their best behavior and designed to kind of get them back in society and learn different skill sets.
Yeah, slowly. You know, if
Yeah.
they're already doing good, they ain't causing no trouble. We're going to go ahead and help you get reacquainted and to get back into the workforce and, you know, you always get back into the community and that kind of thing.
But yeah, Britton, he would drive Patrick to other job interviews. And Patrick first landed a woodworking job, but he later moved on to a metal fabrication plant in Shelby, North Carolina.
Wow.
Yeah, this is our county, bud.
This is our city.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So somewhere in town he was working
yeah.
crazy.
And Britton said that Patrick completed an employment readiness program and attended some substance abuse classes, among other things, to be eligible for the work release program.
So it seemed like he's turned his life around here.
Yeah.
He's doing well.
Trying to do what he needs to do to
be a good citizen and get out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he even said he remembered him being very talented, mechanically inclined, and prior to work release, he had him working on unit maintenance at the prison and had the ability to fix things and just do small repairs and
So
things.
he was good with his hands, basically.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
There was a guy, Chip Jones, he said that he worked with Burris in Shelby for 6 months at one time.
I wonder where this shop was.
I don't know. It's a
I couldn't find the name.
metal fabrication shop, so
Yeah.
there's a few of them around. But
Right. Makes you wonder, don't it?
yeah, it does.
Yeah, and that's when he said Burris had a temper, though.
Yep.
You know, he'd worked with him 6 months, and at that point, he said he had a temper, so
He
he
was-
basically was fired for insubordination.
Yeah, so I guess he lost his work release
His
program.
privilege or something, yeah.
He was disqualified.
Yeah.
And that's when Patrick, he ended up at the state prison in Lincoln County.
Moved him up a notch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
You know, and I was going to say, I don't really understand that. Being everything was good, he just got fired from his job, but oh well, I guess if you get fired from your job, then especially for not doing what they ask you, which is basically insubordination, I guess that's why.
But I guess if you're on work release, it's got to be a fine line.
Yeah. It's all or nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Patrick, he was released on parole on April 29th of 2009.
So that would be, he did eight years?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there?
Yeah, 8 years.
So it's pretty close to his sentence,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Now, when Patrick Burris was released from the Lincoln County Correctional Center, he and his fiance, he had a fiance. He had met a woman. She was an Hispanic woman, and her name was Marta Ugalde. And they had lived together in a hotel for a little while.
Yeah, I don't think she could speak much English either, could she?
I don't think she spoke any English.
Right, and then she had a son.
Yep, and his name was Jimmy Vargas.
Right.
And they had moved into a mobile home park in Vale, North Carolina.
Which is not far from here.
Less than 8 miles.
Yeah, Chambers Road?
Chambers Lane.
Lane, yeah.
And Vale is a small little community northwest of Lincoln.
Very rural.
Yeah,
rural.
Lincoln, yeah.
Yeah.
Just north of where we are right here.
Yeah.
Less than 10 miles, put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But Jimmy Vargas, he was Ugalde's son, and he said that Patrick was trying to turn his life around.
Yeah, he was still working as a tree trimmer.
Yeah.
You know, when they moved out, and things were going all good until one day he got caught for driving with a suspended license.
Yes.
And I don't know the whole details of that, whether he got pulled over for speed or anything, but around here it could be just a basic license check, because they do that a lot. Right?
They'll have those
set up a roadblock
checks.
and just check license. Well, at least that's what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably figured out he was driving a suspended license. But like I said, you know, Jimmy had said, you know, he was doing well, and they were waiting for his birth certificate and stuff to come back. So he probably hadn't really thought about his license even being, and he had to drive to go to work.
Maybe he needed his birth certificate to get his license.
Right.
You know.
But maybe he hadn't put in his change of address and all that mess. Whatever you got to do, keep up with parole to make sure it's good. Because they arrested him and took him to jail.
They arrested him on June the 12th.
Right.
So and that had to be a blow for him, you know.
Oh yeah. All this he's doing to do good, and then this little. I mean, I know it's illegal, but it's not that big a deal, really.
But Jimmy Vargas, this was his girlfriend's son. He bailed him out of jail.
Yeah.
And he said that Patrick feared he would return to prison for a year because of his arrest, and that he told his mother the time would go by quickly.
Yeah, Jimmy's mother.
Yeah, Jimmy's mother. Yeah,
his fiance.
But now get this, it was just a few days later, Patrick left Vale.
Yeah, he just packed up, left. I think he was really worried he was going back to prison, and he didn't want no part of that.
And his fiance didn't go with him.
No.
Now, it was just a few days later. I've heard this different ways.
A bunch of different ways.
Yes, but it was just a few days later. Patrick Burris, he met a brother and sister named Mark Stamey and his sister Sharon Stamey.
Right. And you can meet them at a bar. You can meet them through a drug dealer. You can meet them in Gaffney.
Yeah.
So, pick a joint. I don't know.
Yeah, Mark Stamey, he was 35, and his sister Sharon Stamey, she was 31. And it had been reported they were just transients.
Maybe he met them at a bar in Gaffney, and the drug dealer was there.
Could have been.
Maybe they're all there.
Yep.
Who knows?
But anyway, he was introduced to Mark and Sharon Stamey, brother
Right.
and sister. And they began partying.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that Patrick would at times just disappear, get gone.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Now on June the 27th, Patrick Burris, he shot and killed a peach grower named Klein Cash. I think he was a retired peach farmer.
Yeah, he went in to ask the guy if he had some hay for sale.
Yeah. And Klein Cash was 63, and he was living in Cherokee County, South Carolina.
Yeah, him and his wife were there, and that's when Patrick showed up to ask him about some hay and stuff, and said, did Mr. Cash invited him to come on in, and they were drinking some soda, hanging out in the kitchen, just small talking, getting to know each other. And so Mrs. Cash, she had some errands to run, so she left and returned about 4 hours later.
Yeah. And me and you talked about this earlier today, and you almost feel like that since he had hay for sale, or he probably knew that Klein Cash had some cash on hand.
Right. Yeah, he was a retired peach farmer.
Mm-hmm.
And that just seems like why he would want to go in there, because the hay thing comes up with another murder. So I'm thinking maybe he's thinking they have cash on hand.
Yeah.
Basically, he comes right down to it. What he's doing is he's robbing, and he's looking for money or stuff to rob to pawn, I guess.
Yeah.
To support the drug habit.
Yep.
Him and the siblings have done blowed through everything.
They're doing some drugs and some partying, man.
All kinds.
Yep.
Yeah. Everything from marijuana to cocaine to reportedly crack, maybe meth. I don't really know. It's hard. Who knows? But I've heard all of that, plus a lot of drinking.
Yep, but he shot and killed Klein Cash, who was 63, and his wife came home a little bit later and found him dead in the house. And she had told authorities that it looked like some things had been missing from the house.
Right.
Things were gone.
Yeah, he shot him with his 25.
Yep.
His gun.
25 caliber.
Right.
Yep. And it was 4 days later, Patrick Burris shot and killed Hazel Linder, who was 83, and her daughter, Gina Linda Parker.
Yeah, they were both retired school teachers.
Yeah, she was 50.
Now, later the neighbors would point out that they also had a sign across the road from their house that said, "Hay for sale."
That's crazy.
Yeah. And this is also, side note, 1 hour before Klein Cash's funeral is when this murder happened.
Man.
All this is in Gaffney now.
But these two ladies, they were tied up and bound and gagged.
And shot to death.
And shot to death, yeah.
Right.
So it's just, I don't know if he's ramping up or just getting more desperate for money or what. It's really hard to tell. Now, the next day, Patrick Burris shot Stephen Tyler, who was 48, and wounded his daughter, Abby Tyler, who was 15. But Abby was taken to Spartanburg Regional Medical Center there in South Carolina, and she passed away 2 days later.
Yeah, she was heliported out.
Yeah.
Yeah, she didn't make it.
Yeah. Just a little side note, my wife, I told you about this earlier, her daughter knew this Abby Tyler.
Yeah.
They used to go to Ocean Lakes Campground down in
Myrtle Beach,
yeah. And she remembers her as a child.
Right.
Playing volleyball with her down at Ocean Lakes.
Now, this was all happened at the family's appliance store.
Yes, they...
It's like TVs and VCRs and that kind of stuff
Yeah.
you don't really see much anymore. But
yeah, I guess they just had home appliances.
Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah. And then the two were both found by Tyler's wife and his oldest daughter and an employee. They came in and found them. It'd be awful.
But now, just getting back to Jimmy Vargas, this was his fiance's son. He said he never saw Patrick with any drugs or never saw him with a gun.
Right.
Said he was just a normal guy trying to start over. So it's kind of weird that he ramped up to murdering people.
You know, you think maybe that just set him off when they was going to take him back to jail over
his parole violation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just
probably did.
The hell with it. I've had enough.
Yeah, he can't hide because he's a big guy.
Yeah. It was like Bigfoot running around.
Yeah. All right. Now, on July the 6th, 2009, police were called to a burglary. It's what they thought was a burglary in Dallas, North Carolina. This is in Gaston County.
It's not far from here either.
No. The address was
725 Dallas Spencer Mountain Road.
Yep. And the neighbors saw looked like an SUV pull up to an abandoned house.
Right.
That nobody lived in for a while.
Yeah, Patrick had a champagne colored SUV.
Ford Explorer.
And someone had seen that, and also somebody had eyewitness had talked to him about and even gave a sketch. But this guy, when they pulled up into his house, it's been abandoned, the grass is all grown up around it and everything.
Wasn't no power on in the house or anything.
Yeah, nothing. So he said what happened is about 3 o'clock in the morning, his chihuahua was going crazy, barking. So he's like, well, got up to go see what was going on, and he seen those people in that yard across the road. So he called 911 and told them that there was a burglary in progress.
Mm-hmm.
So the cops show up to see what's going on, and they get there pretty quick. When he pulls up, the Stamies are standing out beside, the SUV, and they're out there talking in the yard, and Patrick's still in the car. And they tell him that, this is their house, everything's okay, and said, and even we heard an interview with the police officer, and he said, well, nobody ran or nobody acted like he weren't supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So, he didn't really think a whole lot about it. And when he told them their name and stuff and said, they own this house. I think it was their mother's house or something. And I figure if they're transients, maybe they owned the house, but they just didn't have enough to keep it up or whatever.
Yeah, probably.
So, but they could go back there and use it for shelter if they needed. There's no power or anything, like I said. But so they called that in, and that seemed to be right. But knew something was off about the guy in the car when they asked him about his name and stuff. He took him a minute to figure out what his name was and his birthday.
Yeah, he gave him a fake name and a fake birthday, I think.
Yeah, he did. So he's like he was stumbling around trying to figure it out. So, and when he got out of the car, he's kind of wobbling around and weaving. So, this is 4th of July weekend, so I'm sure they've been hammered all day. With all these drugs and stuff he's doing.
They got to be.
So they went in the house. They meaning
Patrick Burris and the Stamies,
Burgers, yes, had went in the house. Well, the police didn't leave, and they went back to the car and started figuring this out.
Yeah.
And they realized what was going on and knew the guy was just big, and so they put two and two together. They knew the Champagne Ford Explorer was they were looking for that plus a really big guy. And they knew there was something about the Ford Explorer, and it's never been divulged what it was, but there's something about it, either a sticker on it or something's messed up or something that made it stand out from other ones.
Yeah, been spotted in another place, maybe a dent or something.
Right, so they saw that, so they knew that was the right one. So when they pretty much knew that was Patrick. So they went back to the door, knocked on the door, and the Stamies came to the door, and they said, "We need to talk to your friend. We need to talk to Patrick."
Yes.
Let them know that they knew who he was.
Yeah. Well, the police go in the house.
Yes.
And Patrick is laying on the couch.
Yes.
And he's facing away from the door.
Right. Acting like he's asleep.
Yeah, acting like he's asleep.
Which is kind of funny to me, knowing he just walked in the door. But
yeah. Crazy. But I guess, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But they ask him to get up. But he acts like he didn't want to be bothered, like he's moaning and groaning.
Kind of mumbled like he's sleeping, but he ain't,
Yep.
Right.
And this is when Patrick reaches under his pillow, and he's got a pistol.
Right. Well, they demanded, said, "We need to talk to you. We need to get up, and we know who you are. We need to talk to you, and so stand up, and put your hands behind your back."
Yep.
And then he mumbled a little more, and then that's when he wouldn't show him his hand, and that's why.
Yeah. And he reached under the pillow and grabbed his pistol and done a blind shot over his shoulder.
Yeah, he just flipped the gun over his head basically and pulled the trigger.
Yeah, didn't even aim or nothing, just shot.
Yeah.
And what happened was he hit another cop in the leg.
Right.
But it turned out to be a flesh wound because
he was lucky.
The bullet hit a pocket knife in his pocket, and just the bullet went down the side of his leg like a flesh wound.
Right. Instead of going straight into his femoral artery or the big bone, instead of busting his leg, and which it very could have easily done.
Oh yeah.
It just turned and went straight down, right up and under the skin, which is wild.
Yeah.
And another, one of the officers already had his taser drawn because he knew when he was laying on the couch, like, this is the big guy. If something goes down, and they're in there in the dark. Don't forget this, because there's no power.
No power at all.
Whatever they got, there's flashlights, and that's it. So then they really don't know who all was in the house, besides those three. So he's already got his taser out ready, and then when the guy just fires the gun, I'm sure their ears went, beep, whatever it does.
Deafening.
Yeah, and so he would go ahead and pull the trigger on
the taser.
The taser, and it shot into him, and he dropped it because when the gunfire went off, and he said basically you could see how it just be flashing like a strobe light. That flashlight's all you got going. As he was trying to get his revolver out, or his service weapon. Service weapon, yeah, there you go. Service weapon out of his holster and get ready to protect himself. And by this time, the other two officers had already shot him 3 times in the chest.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they were all ducking for cover, and the officer that tased him saw his taser laying there just clicking, still clicking. Yeah.
So then, he immediately went up and rounded up the other two, because then he was like, oh, God, what if they got guns too? In the back of your mind, you don't know what's going on, And then I'm sure they were wanting to do first aid, because that's their first instinct, is to go do first aid after they've shot somebody or something, or somebody's injured. But they basically can't do that till they know all the threats are, taken care of.
Yep.
So he went over to take care of them, and then they got everybody handcuffed and stuff, and then they went back to him, but it was already too late. He was already dead.
Yep. And actually, the cops that were there, they got off work the next morning. They didn't know it was Patrick Burris till the next day.
Yeah, not at all.
That they had found the spree killer from Gaffney.
Yeah. So basically, they'd been up all that night and had went over there. When they got the call, it was like, do we need to hurry up and get up there? And they're like, no, it's like just a low incident, because they thought it was like some kids at a house party or something. They broken in and were drinking or something. Then they got there and all this went on. And then they had to go back to the station because there was a shooting, and all that had to go on and be investigated. So the time he got home, it was like 9 or 10 o'clock the next morning. He just shut his phone off and went to bed. This is all coming from the police officers that we heard the interview with.
Yeah.
And he said when he finally got up and turned on his phone, it was just blowing up from all this stuff, and he was just getting all kind of messages from everywhere about, how good a job they had done and taking this guy down.
Yeah, because Gaffney had been under terror for 6 days.
Right.
I mean, people were scared to death.
And it ain't their first time, right?
No, because they had a serial killer back in the 60s, Leroy Martin.
Yep.
Yeah, he terrorized town for a few years.
The Gaffney Strangler.
Yep.
Hear all about it on episode 50 if you want to go back and check that out.
Go check it out. But yeah, the Gaffney was hit again by a spree killer.
Yeah.
Patrick Burris.
You know, and then people say it's spree killer, some saying serial killer, and, you know, whatever you want to say. And the difference is basically, I don't really know, to tell you the truth. Timeline, you know,
Yes,
this is all was 5 murders in.
There's no cooling off period.
Right. You know, it's like 5 murders in, 6 days or 6 to 8 days? Whatever.
Yeah.
And instead of this, we had heard of this girl who had posted this thing in a true crime group once and said that in Bowling Springs, North Carolina, which is just up the road here, she was at a Bible camp, and she went. It was always like a weekly thing, or it was a week in the summer, I'm assuming. And they were walking to go somewhere, and this fellow walked out in front of them, was kind of acting weird, and he just stopped and turned around and said, "You guys better be careful. There's a serial killer on the loose."
Yeah.
And the girl said, you know, at the time we were just like this weirdo, you know, they were all the Ouija board kind of crowd, you know, they didn't care and it wasn't going to scare them. They just didn't really think nothing much of it, you know, whatever. And then said they went ahead and finished out their Bible camp and everything. And then about a week or two after they had got back home, they got the news that they had caught this spree killer.
Yeah.
And it was him.
So
they were face to face with him and didn't even realize.
This is at Gardner-Webb University.
Yeah.
Bible camp, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then later they had found out that other people had actually seen him around campus and then sometimes even hiding between cars and just watching people.
God, that's scary, man. Because I'm in Bowling Springs all the time.
Yeah. In Shelby all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy.
And like we said, when this is in our backyard, this is literally in our backyard.
When we first heard about this, we knew it was something going on in Vail, and we're like, wow, that is so close.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, it's like really close.
Yeah.
It's just really, you never know.
We could have crossed paths with this guy at one time or another.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting story, and we wanted to cover Patrick Tracy Burris.
Right. You know, and then they did at the one time think that he was involved in another murder with a guy that was named Matt Stewart.
In Iredell County.
Yeah. That I don't think much ever come of that, and it was never really linked to it.
Yeah,
And
Matt he was murdered in his home
Yeah.
late one night. His wife and his kids were there, but he was murdered. His wife was shot in the hand.
Yeah. There was some weird circumstances over there. It was like 2 different handguns, caliber guns, some other stuff. Now, if he did do that, then that would make him technically a serial killer because there'd be that much time difference in it. But I don't think he had nothing to do with that myself.
Yeah, they hadn't been linked to Matt Stewart's death.
Right.
And we may cover Matt Stewart in the future.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting story.
Very.
Yep. All right, that is the case of Patrick Tracy Burris, Dale.
Yep. And I tell you what, it would have been a lot bad, you know, if that police officer had not been for that pocket knife.
I know. That's some divine intervention.
Divine intervention, man, yeah.
Yeah, crazy.
Yep.
All right, bud. We are going to get out of here.
All right, man. Let's do it. Let's
want,
roll.
Yep. We want everyone to be safe, be careful, and always be aware of your surroundings and watch out for spree killers.
Because the next episode could be about you.
This is the Crack House Chronicles.